AZ-305, Designing Microsoft Azure Infrastructure Solutions Questions and Answers Set Number 5. You have an on-premises Active Directory Domain Services (ADDS) domain. You deploy a new Microsoft Entra tenant. You need to recommend a solution to sync changes to users between the two directories. What should you recommend include in the recommendation? Option 1, a Windows Server VM with the Active Directory Domain Services (ADDS) role installed. Option 2, Microsoft Entra B2B. Option 3, Microsoft Entra Connect. Option 4, Azure Data Sync. Correct answer, Microsoft Entra Connect. Explanation: Microsoft Entra Connect is designed to sync users and devices between Microsoft Entra ID-based domains and ADDS domains. Azure Data Sync is for syncing data, not directories. Microsoft Entra B2B is a mode of operation for Microsoft Entra ID that enables external identities from other Microsoft Entra ID-based domains. DIRSync is now deprecated and should no longer be used. You have an Azure subscription. You plan to implement an Azure Key Vault. The solution must meet the following requirements. Prevent the accidental deletion of keys, secrets, and certificates. Prevent the deletion of the Key Vault, keys, secrets, and certificates in a configurable retention period. Which two Key Vault features should you use to meet the requirements? Each correct answer presents part of the solution. Option 1, Access Policies. Option 2, Key Vault Firewall. Option 3, Key Vault Premium Tier. Option 4, Purge Protection. Option 5, Soft Delete. Correct answer, Purge Protection, Soft Delete. Explanation: Soft Delete is a correct answer as it's designed to prevent the accidental deletion of your Key Vault and keys, secrets, and certificates stored inside a Key Vault. Purge Protection is a correct answer since it works as a recycle bin, designed to prevent the deletion of your Key Vault, keys, secrets, and certificates by a malicious insider. Access policies control access but do not prevent resource deletion or prevent recover. The same goes for Key Vault Firewall. Key Vault Premium Tier implements HSM keys and does not prevent deletions. You have an Azure subscription that contains a web app named Web App 1. You need to recommend a solution to allow or deny access to Web App 1 only for users signed in from compliant tablet devices. What should you use? Option 1, Conditional Access. Option 2, Microsoft Entra ID Protection. Option 3, Microsoft Entra Connect. Option 4, Microsoft Entra Verified ID. Correct answer, Conditional Access. Explanation: Conditional access is the correct option since it is a tool that Microsoft Entra uses to allow or deny access to resources by using policies to know from which device the user is requesting access. Microsoft Entra ID protection is based on a signal for identity-based risks but does not detect devices being used by a user. Microsoft Entra Connect syncs identities from on-premises Active Directory Domain Services (ADDS). Microsoft Entra Verified ID previously implements decentralized ID management. You have an application that runs on load-balanced Azure virtual machines. The application must access an Azure storage account and an Azure Key Vault. You need to recommend an identity strategy for accessing Azure resources. The solution must meet the following requirements. Secure access to the resources based on permissions. Minimize the number of identities to create. Which type of identity should you include in the recommendation? Option 1, Microsoft Entra ID Groups. Option 2, Microsoft Entra ID Users. Option 3, System Assigned Managed Identities. Option 4, User Assigned Managed Identities. Correct answer, User Assigned Managed Identities. Explanation: You create a single managed identity and assign it to virtual machines and permissions. Using system-assigned managed identities, create one identity for each virtual machine, and those identities must be added to permissions for each resource accessed by the virtual machines. Microsoft Entra ID users and groups requires creating the users and the group manually. You need to design an identity solution for Azure virtual machines. The solution must meet with the following requirements. Identities must be removed when virtual machines are deleted. Identities cannot be shared among multiple virtual machines. Which type of identity should you use? Option 1, Microsoft Entra Groups. Option 2, Microsoft Entra Users. Option 3, System-Assigned Managed Identities. Option 4, User-Assigned Managed Identities. Correct answer, System-Assigned Managed Identities. Explanation: using System-Assigned Managed Identities will create one identity for each virtual machine and delete the identity when the resource is deleted. User-Assigned Managed Identities can be shared. Using Microsoft Entra Users or Groups requires you to manually delete users and the group. You are designing an authentication solution for a hybrid environment that spans Azure and on-premises data centers. You need to use Microsoft Entra ID to authenticate remote users accessing applications on premises. What should you include in the design? Option 1, Microsoft Entra Domain Services. Option 2, Microsoft Entra Application Proxy. Option 3, Microsoft Entra Connect. Option 4, Windows Hello for Business. Correct answer, Microsoft Entra Application Proxy. Explanation: Application Proxy allows on-premises applications to use tokens from Microsoft Entra ID. Windows Hello for Business is used for multi-factor authentication (MFA) on Windows clients. Microsoft Entra Connect is used to sync password hashes. Microsoft Entra DS is a managed Active Directory service in the cloud. An application named App1 must access a stored password when connecting to a service named Service1. You plan to use Azure Key Vault to store the password for Service1. You need to recommend a solution to ensure that the password for Service1 is stored securely. Which type of object should you create in Key Vault? Option 1, Certificate. Option 2, Key. Option 3, Secret. Correct answer, Secret. Explanation: in Key Vault, secrets are used to store tokens, passwords, certificates, and API keys. Keys are used to store encryption keys. Certificates are used to store TSL/SSL certificates. You need to design a cost management solution for Azure. The solution must meet the following requirements. Minimize the number of Azure subscriptions. Allow the reporting of cost by department. How should you organize the resources for cost management? Option 1, create a management group for each department. Option 2, create a subscription for each department. Option 3, create a tag for each resource. Option 4, create an administrative unit for each department. Correct answer, create a tag for each resource. Explanation: creating a cost center tag for every resource enables the use of as many or as few subscriptions, and tracks cost by resource. Creating a management group or subscription for each department requires at least one subscription per department. Your organization has multiple Microsoft Azure resources spread across different regions. Each team manages its own set of resources. You need to design a solution that allows centralized monitoring while respecting the autonomy of each team over their data. Each correct answer presents part of the solution. Which 3 actions should you take? Option 1, configure data collection rules, DCRs, for data ingestion into a centralized workspace. Option 2, implement a centralized log analytics workspace with role-based access control, RBAC. Option 3, implement multiple log analytics workspaces with separate access controls for each team. Option 4, use Azure Monitor alerts to notify teams of resource issues. Option 5, use Azure Monitor workbooks to create dashboards from different sources. Correct answer, configure data collection rules, DCRs, for data ingestion into a centralized workspace. Implement a centralized log analytics workspace with role-based access control, RBAC. Use Azure Monitor workbooks to create dashboards from different sources. Explanation: to achieve centralized monitoring while respecting team autonomy, configure data collection rules, DCRs, to control data ingestion into a centralized workspace, ensuring only relevant data is collected. Implement a centralized log analytics workspace with role-based access control, RBAC, to provide a unified view of logs and metrics while maintaining data security. Use Azure Monitor workbooks to create interactive dashboards that consolidate data from various sources, offering a comprehensive view of resource performance. Implementing multiple log analytics workspaces with separate access controls leads to fragmented data management. Using Azure Policy to enforce monitoring standards is more about governance than performance monitoring, and using Azure Monitor alerts does not directly contribute to centralized monitoring. Your organization has multiple Microsoft Azure subscriptions and needs to ensure compliance with specific security policies. You need to design a governance strategy that enforces these security policies automatically across all subscriptions. Each correct answer presents part of the solution. Which two actions should you perform? Choose two. Option 1, apply security policies to each subscription individually. Option 2, create a management group and apply security policies at this level. Option 3, use Azure Blueprints to define and apply security policies across all subscriptions. Option 4, use Azure Policy to define and assign security policies to the management group. Correct answer, create a management group and apply security policies at this level. Use Azure Policy to define and assign security policies to the management group. Explanation: creating a management group and applying security policies at this level ensures consistent compliance across all resources under the group. This approach leverages Azure's hierarchical structure for efficient policy enforcement. Using Azure Policy to define and assign security policies to the management group allows for automated compliance enforcement, ensuring that all subscriptions inherit these policies and providing a scalable governance strategy. Using Azure Blueprints to define and apply security policies across all subscriptions is a more automated approach but may not fully utilize the hierarchical benefits of management groups. Applying security policies to each subscription individually is inefficient and error-prone, as it involves manual application and does not offer a scalable solution.